have officially earned over $2 million at the age of 20 years old. And for those of you guys who are going to call clickbait or are going to call this shit fake, I'll just have Stripe pulled up because we just recently crossed this threshold. Not sure if you guys can see it, but right here you can see that we recently just succeeded over $2 million in payments. Today we brought in over $10,000. Yesterday we did over $7,000 in sales. And I'm going to tell you guys the full story. So if you're someone that's actually looking to start making money online, you're someone who's young, you want to make a name for yourself, you want to actually be able to live the kind of quality of life that you feel as though you deserve, this might give you some insight. First off, for some background, I want you guys to understand, I should not be in this position, okay? I have the very traditional shit student story. When I was 17 years old, I dropped out of high school and got my GED because I was such a bad student. I was flunking out, wasn't showing up, skipping class. I have that story. Why? Because I knew school was never for me, and I knew there was always going to be something better for me out there when it came to opportunity. Now, with that being said, I didn't know what to do. So what did I do? I started working a regular job, okay? When I dropped out of school as a senior, I didn't go right into e-com or drop shipping or day trading or whatever the fuck these gurus want to say. You know what I did? I went and started working at a breakfast restaurant, 10 hours a day, making money, cash tips, whatever I needed to do. I needed money. So I started working that job to start earning money. And you know what I did after work? I went to a second job, which was an ice cream shop. And I would go there and I would scoop people's fucking ice cream cones for tips. Why? Because I didn't grow up rich. I didn't grow up with parents that were giving me money, handing me money. It just simply wasn't gonna happen. So what did I do? I went out and I started earning money the right way, legitimately, with a job, multiple jobs. And at that point, that was my only responsibility. So I was working 12 to 13 hours a day. And as a 17-year-old, I was making like $1,500 a week. Okay? And my brother was doing the same. If you don't know, I have a brother, his name is Dario. He had dropped out of community college at the time because we said, bro, fuck school, let's just start making money. We didn't know what we wanted to do, but we had blind faith. We always knew school wasn't gonna be for us. So we dropped out. We started working and we started pooling our money together to prepare for some kind of venture that we could go in on together. Now, with that being said, we noticed a bit of a gap in the market. Every night we would sit down together and we would just come up with ideas. We would draw things out, map things out, plan things out. Who has money? How do we get our hands on money? What are we gonna do to make money? We just kept trying to figure things out little by little. So long story short, one day we came up with an idea. Now, I had a small podcast previously, not super small. I mean, it had about 250,000 followers on TikTok. I would sit down with girls, interview them, we would talk, and I would just get the clips to basically blow up by asking them dumb questions and shit like that. But to run that podcast, I had to recruit people to actually be on. I had to incentivize them to come on without money because at the time I didn't have any money. So I had this podcast that I was doing. And in a way, I started to learn the skill of sales. You have to sell people to get on the podcast. You have to sell people to be okay with being kind of clickbaited in certain thumbnails so that you can get a video to fucking perform. This is what I was doing. And my brother was involved in the production. So he would shoot all the podcasts, edit them, create the thumbnails and whatnot. But I came quickly to learn that that podcast wasn't making any money. Why? Because I had this idea in my head of, oh, if I just create a podcast, eventually I'll get a brand deal or a sponsorship or something will work, and eventually I'll just start making money. That never happened. I never got the brand deal, never got the sponsorship, never started making any money off the podcast. But what I did have through that podcast and what I did learn working in that breakfast restaurant, taking tables, taking people's orders, trying to upsell them on certain things, is I in a way learned how to sell. So I had no issue walking up to people, communicating with people, getting told no, being rejected. I had no issue with that. I got very, very comfortable being uncomfortable. I'll tell you that for a fact. And my brother became very skilled in audio, video, various different skills that he needed to know. So we said, okay, how can we combine our skills? We need to find someone that has money and we need to somehow combine our skills. I have the skill of sales that I'm now learning. You have the skill of video. Who needs videos? Who can I sell videos to? And we came up with an idea. We're going to approach local businesses in the state of New Jersey, and we're going to sell them content creation for their business. I don't care if it's a bakery, solar company, restaurant, roofing company. Businesses need content. We live in a social media based world. This is what makes the world fucking spin these days. People love videos. So let's go create reels for businesses. We'll take 10 photos, 5 videos, and we'll charge them a monthly fee. So what did I do? I started knocking doors. I started going door to door in every business in my local area. Hey, what's going on, sir? How you doing? Can I have 2 minutes of your time? It's a quick business inquiry. No? Next door, next door. And I would just constantly be sitting down with business owners, pitching them on video work that we could do. And we got told no so many fucking times, but eventually I got a car dealership that let us do some free video work. And then after I did the free video work, I went to another car dealership and I said, hey, I just did video for that car dealership. I posted it for them. It helped them get an extra 10,000 views. I think we could help you guys add an additional 10,000 views based on X, Y, and Z. Can we do some video work together? And I kept just getting free work in until I felt confident enough to charge. And then eventually we got our first client for content creation locally, where we would come in once a month, shoot all their videos, edit them together, and post them for them for $1,000 a month. And that was the first big win in business we'd ever had. That's the first little amount of money we ever made. That's what actually showed us what was possible. And then after that, it compounded. We got a second client and a third client and a fourth and a fifth and a sixth. And next thing you knew, we had clients in New York City, a big restaurant called Dig. That was one of our clients. We had a small cafe called Fiat Cafe. We started getting these local content clients in our customer base, and we started getting new clients and new customers. And we scaled the business from absolutely zero. And in 3 months, we were doing $30,000 a month in sales. 80% of it was profit. We had 2 editors overseas and a videographer over here. We did that all within 3 months. And then month 4 came around and we went from doing 30,000 a month to 10,000 a month. And you're probably like, how the hell did that happen? How did it fall off so quick? Because we didn't understand what churn was. Clients leave, right? Especially when you're selling them videos, there's no return on investment associated directly, and people want to spend money and make money back. And unfortunately with video content, it doesn't really work that way. So long story short, we had to come up with a better idea. Now, from running that business for a couple months, the first month I believe we made about $8,000. The next month we did about 15 to 22. I can't give you exact. And then that third month we did that 30,000 in sales. And then it dropped off by month 4. I started seeing a lot of flaws in the business model. We could only work with local businesses. We can only really scale so much. How many businesses are here locally? Trying to hire videographers, the amount that they want American. It was just an unreliable model, and it wasn't the model that I wanted to scale. So I knew that we needed to make a pivot. If we were going to run a marketing agency, we needed to run a better marketing agency, a leaner marketing agency, a tighter marketing agency, and a virtual one. Something that we can do on our laptop so that we can work from quite literally anywhere geographically in the world that we want it to work. I would rather make less money and be able to work from wherever I want than make all the money in the world be confined to one singular location, because you are not truly free if you are confined. So that was the next idea. We have to sell something that can be fully digital. Well, what can we sell? We can't sell content because we have to send a videographer there that's in person. What can we sell that's virtual? Search engine optimization. If you don't know what search engine optimization is, it's the process of ranking a site number 1 on Google, right? We can sell Facebook ads. So we can run ads for businesses, we can get them leads, and if those leads end up booking, we can show that we actually got them a return on investment. We can sell them a CRM system. Businesses need CRMs where they manage all the leads that they're generating. We can help them automate their processes, right? So I said, okay, we have to pick now a business model where something is high ticket. We need to work with people that already have money, rich people. We learned through the content business that when we worked with people that owned super successful, massive restaurants, they were super easy to work with. And then when we would go get smaller businesses that only had a small budget, they'd be a real pain in the ass to work with. They would be super demanding, hard to work with, always stressed out, always badgering us. So we said, we have to work with rich people and we need to sell them something that's going to make them money. What are we going to do? And I went to the drawing board. And I went to the drawing board and I went to the drawing board and I'm thinking real estate. There's multi-million-dollar real estate projects that happen all the time. There's so much money in real estate. I always hear about real estate. There's got to be money in real estate. What about the mortgage industry? Companies that provide mortgages make a lot of money, right? Because they make a pretty decent sized interest rate and a pretty decent spread. They're making money. I got lucky. This is the next part of the story, is I got lucky. There was a guy, and I'm not going to say who, but he owns a big mortgage company here in New Jersey. He also happened to own the ice cream shop that I was working at. And he liked me because I was always a good worker. And I approached him and I told him about what we wanted to do, how we wanted to run Facebook ads and do SEO. And he gave us a shot for his mortgage business. He didn't pay us anything, but I asked him if we'd be able to work for free, and he said yes. So that was our first client in the mortgage industry. Now, through that project, he then told us, hey guys, I have a second business. I have a second business that I need help with. And I said, okay, well, what's that business? And it was actually an event venue. It was a large event venue here in the state of New Jersey. And I started doing research in the private events industry, and I recognized just how much money was actually in that market. People getting married in New Jersey are spending an average of $55,000. So if we could help him get just one wedding booked, if I charged $2,000 a month, he'd be able to pay our fee for the whole year with one booking. And finally, the idea clicked. If we run ads and if we do search engine optimization and CRM integration, and if we help these businesses run a better business and have a better process, we can make money. And that is precisely when we birthed Del Priori Hospitality, which is our marketing agency. And we grow and scale hospitality businesses. That's exactly what we do. We work with event venues from all across the country, all 50 states. We even have clients internationally who we help run Facebook ads for, perform SEO, CRM integrate, and we get them more business. And that's exactly what we do. Now, with that being said, we scaled this business, and today this business is over $200,000 in monthly sales. That's the business that we run to this day. There's a lot of people online. There's a lot of people on the internet. They sell courses. And I have no issue with people that sell courses. There's a lot of people that just strictly want to sell digital products. You will come to realize that running a real business is the future of what people should be doing that are trying to create content or make a brand online. The only reason I'm making this video is to give hope to the person that wants to get started in their online business venture, and that you can make serious money without needing to sell courses. I could be a multimillionaire for the rest of my life and never sell anybody a course because I run a real company with my brother. We have a team of over 30 people. My business is more indestructible. We have stickiness, we have leverage, we know what to look for, we know how to look at balance sheets. If I needed to buy a business, I would know how to do it because I have that mental bandwidth. If you're someone that's just getting started, you have to understand that failures are going to happen. I worked regular jobs. I tried a content business that never ended up being the model that we stuck with. I tried a clothing brand, a podcast. I scraped my knees so many times, but I finally found something that worked for me. And because I found something that worked for me, I started to recognize this has to work for more people. And they have to pick a good model to be in when they're going to get started. So if I could expedite all that time that I spent scraping my knees for so many people, and I can just give them what I have now from a knowledge perspective, how to get clients, how to prospect them, how to scale, when to hire, who to hire, what countries to hire from, how to bill properly, how to get lower fucking payment processing rates on billing. There's so many things that go into running a successful marketing agency, but if you can figure it out, you can run a legitimate business and feel good about the way that you make money. You're serving people, you're doing something right. And I want you guys to understand, to make over $2 million at the age of 20 is absurd. It's not common. It doesn't happen. I have an Aston Martin. I have a G-Wagon. I live by myself. Most people are still living at home. I have no degree. This shouldn't have happened for me. But I truly believe it was a gift from God. I woke up every day and I showed up every day for myself, knowing exactly what I wanted, and I got exactly what the fuck I wanted. And if you're the kind of person that's going to show up and you're willing to learn and you're coachable, you can win inside of this business model. There's all these different fad businesses, e-com, dropship, day trade, this, that, the other. You need to build something that's going to be indestructible. If your business is not going to be around in the next 5 years, you're not building a business. You're just building a little cash operation that's going to shut down, just like the content business. You want something with sustainability and with durability. And that is exactly why I'm making this video. This should be hope for you guys. I want you to understand that you can do this. Like I said, I am not meant to be in this position. My brother and I never imagined this would have happened this quick. But it can happen when you pick the right business model, when you work at it every single day, and when you know what the fuck you're doing, and when you really help your clients, all the money in the world is there for the taking. So with that being said, guys, that's my journey. That's how I went from absolutely dead broke, flat broke, to making over $2 million at the age of 20. I didn't catch a crypto pump. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't buy some stock that blew up. I started a legitimate business that I still run to this day, and I scaled it the correct way through hiring, management, and running a proper operation. So if that at all sounds interesting to you, if you're looking to get into sales, or if you want to start your own marketing agency, feel free, shoot me over a DM on Instagram at It's Luke Del Priore. I hope to have a chat with you. And just so you know, I genuinely want you to win. Love you guys.